A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najma Lima, but first are the headlines. Old passports to expire in 6 months according to government. Museveni summons top security commanders over Karamoja raids. Guineans divided over fate of deposed President Alpha Condé. And in sports, goalkeeper Benjamin Ochan officially unveiled at KCCA for third homecoming. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. The Ministry of Internal Affairs has said that Ugandans with old passports are left with less than 6 months to be able to renew their travel documents, or else they will not be able to fly or travel out of the country. Following the introduction of the new East African e-passport, government has mulled plans to have the old machine-readable passports phased out for the new ones. We have more. Addressing journalists on Monday, the Ministry of Internal Affairs spokesperson Jacob Siminyu said it is only 6 months to the April 4th, 2022 date when the old passports expire and urged members of the public to get new passports. He explained that according to international air transport standards, a person with a passport whose expiry is in 6 months' time and below is not allowed to get a visa and air ticket, adding that the same is soon being effected on holders of old Ugandan passports. The Ministry of Internal Affairs spokesperson also advised that every Ugandan should have a passport ready at all times, but not to wait for time of travel to process the documents. On March 2, 2016, the East African Community Heads of State launched the new generation EAC passport and directed that its issuance takes effect from January 1, 2017. The Heads of State further directed that the partner states should implement a phase-out program for the East African and national passports from January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2018. However, owing to procurement rigors, issuance could not start as per the directive. Since December 18th, 2018, the government of Uganda has been issuing the EAC passport and in effect started the phase-out program of the Ugandan national passport. The two travel documents have, however, remained in use concurrently until April 4th, 2022 after an extension of the deadline. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, has summoned the UPDF top commanders over a major assault on revenge cattle raids in Karamoja area. The raids have left a number of people dead and others injured, whereas a number of cattle heads have also been stolen in the area that has enjoyed peace in the last years since the disarmament exercise by the government.
Speaking on Sunday, Museveni said the meeting for the top security commanders will decide the final solution to deal with the emerging cattle raids in Karamoja that he said were sparked off by Karamajongo warrior who was recently released from prison after serving 10 years. On return, the suspect, identified as Achuchu, found his wives married to other men and all his cattle gone. During Museveni's 3-day stay in Karamoja, he was informed that Achuchu, who is recently roaming the GA and Turkana of Kenya, was not helped by police and the local leaders to recover his animals after return from prisons. He consequently mobilized criminal gangs and attacked and raided cattle from the Dodoth, resulting in counter raids by the Dodoth that has left over 400 people dead in 2 years. Museveni said that the Dodoth rejected peace talks with the GA and have vowed to harm them since they just want revenge, a cycle Museveni said must be broken peacefully. Speaking to commanders of top security organs, including the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Special Force Command, Police, internal security organizations and the Anti-Stock Theft Unit of the police in a meeting at Morolinga State Lodge in Napak District, Museveni said the revenge attacks have led to the birth of other criminals who have taken advantage of the situation to form gangs using mobile phones across clans to raid and steal animals. The president urged security agencies to take time, listen and act.
The family of the deposed Guinean leader Alpha Conde has confirmed that the former president is fine and doing well, though tired. His family and party members are now calling for his immediate release, citing the coup as being unconstitutional. On the other hand, some Guineans are calling for justice to prevail and are now pushing for the former leader to be prosecuted.
Guinea's ruling junta is facing a tough choice of keeping the ousted President Alpha Conde detained, ignoring international demands for clemency or free a powerful leader who could seek revenge. A recent military push ended Conde's rule in the West African country, coming after months of tension over his decision to seek a third presidential term last year. Special forces led by Lieutenant Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya rebelled on September 5th, assaulting the presidential palace and capturing 83-year-old Conde. They quickly dissolved the government and installed a military junta, citing rights abuse under Conde. But the coup sparked broad diplomatic outrage and led to calls for Conde's immediate release, including from the United Nations, the African Union, and the West African bloc ECOWAS. Guinea's ruling military has promised to keep the former leader safe, but their plans for Conde are unclear. The ex-president's political opponents appeared to want him to stay under lock and key, wary of his fierce reputation and close links to some African leaders.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. Nearly 70 students who were abducted from their school in northern Nigeria have regained their freedom after 2 weeks in captivity, according to Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle. The students from the government-led secondary school were rescued with the help of some of the gunmen who repented. Heavily armed men had descended on the school on September 1st, the latest attack in a wave of school kidnappings in northern Nigeria that prompted the government to shut down all primary and secondary schools in Zamfara state. Police have said that 73 students were abducted and that 5 were rescued a day later. Authorities were able to rescue the students with the help of some of the gunmen who had repented. According to UNICEF, Nigeria has seen at least 10 abductions over the past year, in which 1,436 students have been taken. About 200 students are still being held and 16 children have died in the attacks. School kidnappings have taken place in 9 different states, and targets have included everyone from preschoolers to university students. Authorities have blamed the abductions on bandits who are believed to be motivated by the ransoms paid for the children's release. However, some students held by the bandits have said they also have been threatened to not return to school when they are freed. That has raised fears that they may be linked in some way to the Islamic extremist group Boko Haram, whose name in the Hausa language translates as Western education is forbidden. Zamfara State Police spokesman Mohammed Shehu told the press that he had no details of the rescue operation because he was not in the state where authorities blocked telecommunications access. Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum visited the inhabitants of the Azaru area, which has been plagued by deadly jihadist attacks that have forced farmers to abandon their fields, and said that he wanted to combat by securing natives, the commune closest to Mali and the main entry point for terrorists.
In August, the Human Rights Watch estimated that more than 420 civilians have been killed since the beginning of the year in the western Niger. Since June, the region has experienced more attacks mainly directed to civilians working in the fields. One of the residents of Inet said security has negatively impacted their lives and the region, and asked the authorities to do everything possible to eradicate the insecurity which is costing them dearly. She added that they killed their husbands, making them widows, they burnt their grain stores, took away all their livestock and left them with nothing. Niger is being hit by insurgents linked to Al-Qaeda or the so-called Islamic State crossing from Mali and Burkina Faso in the west, and by Boko Haram crossing from Nigeria in the southeast. Thousands of people have been killed and hundreds of thousands have fled their homes.
Moving on, the International Coordinating Council of UNESCO's MAN and the Biosphere Program will meet for its 33rd session in Abuja, Nigeria from 13th to 17th September this year. It is the first time that the MAB ICC is held in Africa. The Council will review proposals for new biosphere reserves on 15th September. The meeting comes days after the World Congress of the International Union for Conservation of Nature shone a light on the global biodiversity crisis, stating that more than 8,500 species are threatened with extinction. The Abuja meeting will be opened by Audrey Azoulaya, Director General of UNESCO, and President Muhammadu Buhari. The Minister of Environment of Nigeria, Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar, and the UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Edward Kalon, will also participate in the MAB Council alongside representatives of UNESCO's member states. UNESCO, a custodian of knowledge and know-how concerning biodiversity, has been developing concrete solutions to environmental challenges for over 50 years through the MAB program and its network of protected sites covering nearly 6% of the planet. With 714 biosphere reserves in 129 countries, UNESCO seeks to reconcile humans and nature and demonstrate that it is possible to use biodiversity sustainably while fostering its conservation. The MAB Council is an opportunity to review progress, define priorities, and coordinate international cooperation in support of biodiversity and ecological sciences. The MAB ICC will also select the recipients of the Michael Batisse Award and the UNESCO MAB Young Scientists Awards on 16th September. Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. In our business news today, Parliament has resolved to impose a mandatory $10, about shillings 35,000 tax on everyone flying out of the country. The proposal was considered after the committee engaged stakeholders in the sector to revive businesses that have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The tax, known as Tourism Development Levy, is among a string of recommendations put forward by Parliament's Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry in a report under the stewardship of Mr. Mwini Mpaka, the Mbarara City South MP. The proposal mirrors similar policies that Kenya and Tanzania have in place to support and grow their domestic tourism sectors. Parliament overwhelmingly supported the proposal when Mr. Mpaka presented the report last week, saying it will enable the tourism sector recover from the financial shocks. Once collected, the money will be channeled to Post Bank Uganda and managed by the Ministries of Finance and that of Tourism. All the aforesaid government entities have to draft a concrete management plan and procedures through which the money will be accessed by the targeted beneficiaries. 70% of the total collections will be shared among members in the private tourism sector. The legislators also want 20% of the collections made of every air ticket to be earmarked for marketing Uganda's tourism sector. The remaining 10% will be channeled to the tax body, Uganda Revenue Authority. health news today. In an effort to limit the spread of COVID-19, the government of Burundi last week began a compulsory screening campaign for all pupils in boarding schools. The initiative will last until 14th September. One of these screening centers is located in the Sokati district, Kamenge zone, Ntahangwa commune in the north of Bujumbura. Parents and pupils responded massively to this campaign. Long queues began to form in the morning hours around 10 a.m. local time, and more than 400 pupils have already been screened so far. Dr. Thadi Ndikumana, Minister of Public Health and AIDS Control in Burundi, said that the students have responded massively and they were going to work to enable these students to access testing easily. At this screening site in the north of Bujumbura, some parents accompanied their children. Some said that this campaign is very necessary to avoid the spread of the virus in schools. The students are aware of the danger of this disease. Some have expressed fears, warning that their studies can be disrupted if they test positive. In our sports news today, immensely gifted goalkeeper Benjamin Ochan will be playing KCCA, his childhood dream since the Entebbe Young Academy times at Chiwafu back in the days on the beautiful Lake Victoria Peninsula town of Entebbe. Now, Ochan returns to Lugogo for the third spell after expedition in Zambia and Kenya with Kabwe Warriors and AFC Leopards respectively. Kachanchu reports.
The Kampala Capital City Authority and vastly experienced goalkeeper Benjamin Ochan have a special spiritual bond, which is a special bond that was blessed on earth, mended in heaven, and eye-catching at the shot stopper's lovely drop balls during restart of the play. For the third stint, Ochan will be playing at the club, his childhood dream since the Entebbe Young Academy times at Chiwafu back in the days on the beautiful Lake Victoria Peninsula town of Entebbe. Ochan first featured for Kampala Capital City Authority during the 2008-2009 season before departing for the murky professional waters in South Africa at Bloemfontein Celtic. The second spell happened between 2015 and 2018, where he also landed the golden opportunity to captain his giant side. Ochan's youth career witnessed him rise the ranks at Entebbe Young Academy, Kampala Kids League, and the Danish outfit Ahas Gymnasta Forening in 2007. He also played at Uganda's most successful club, Sports Club Villa, and the defunct Sports Club Victoria University under Molevie Kwaso before his KCCA second stint, Kwabe Warriors, and lately the 2 seasons in Kenya at AFC Leopards. For the Uganda Cranes, Ochan has already earned 17 caps and already featured at the 2 CHAN Championships 2014 in South Africa and 2018 in Morocco.
Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top stories. Old passports to expire in 6 months, according to government. Museveni summons top security commanders over Karamoja raids. Guineans divided over fate of deposed President Alpha Conde. And in sports, goalkeeper Benjamin Ochan officially unveiled at KCCA for third homecoming. That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned, more programming coming your way.